Catus, Maximus here, this time with a quick review of Eklind USA's precision screwdrivers, precision hex screwdrivers. I have most of them here. I actually have on order the straight set of the metric, and so each of these are running just a little bit under about 20 bucks a set. What I have here is both the ball and straight. Fractional, I have the ball, metric, and then I also have the Torx. They do have a Torx Plus set. They were totally out of those, but they did have all the others. And so for these 4 sets, I think I paid around 65 bucks. Actually, I paid a total of about 88 bucks for 5 sets, but once again, I'm waiting for the straight metric ones. And in many situations, you get slightly smaller collections of the ball units than you do of the straight units, and that's mainly because, like in this case with the fractionals, the straight units come with a couple sizes that are, well, in this case, it's 4 sizes that are smaller than the ball. And the reason for that is just pretty simple. They do have these things here, which I don't really like because during shipping, these things can fall out or even get bent. So I think that's a little bit odd of a selection. But we'll take a look at 2 of these tiny ones. So these things I even picked up. God, those little, they actually do hold on reasonably well. Get that. Wow, that's totally stuck in there. Anyway, as we can see here, we have a microscopic ball, and in this case, a super duper tiny hex. I do like the fact, in many other Allen wrenches, I prefer that the shaft is the same diameter as the working end, but in this case, they're so small that I actually kind of like their design because it makes almost no difference because the shaft's already pretty darn small, like 5/32 or something. Gives you a little bit more strength right at the tip. And the reason that the ball ones don't go as small, as you can see, there just isn't enough material. If you were to make a ball the size of this, it would just have a few thousandths of an inch and the undercut would easily break. And that's even going to be the case on the larger ones, is they're not going to be for breaking fasteners. You'll break off this little ball just super easy. It's more for using a traditional Allen wrench or one of these other straight ones to actually break. Usually it's little grub screws that I run into that I need ones that are this small. And then you use the ball just to get it to run it in and out. And anyway, there are a few brands of these, but I did like the Eklinds because they were fairly complete sets. And once again, they're all American made. They even have stamped on them, Maine USA on all of them. I do like that they have spinning caps. The handles aren't too bad. I think because they have a slightly larger diameter up there, you do have quite a bit of grip strength. Nice rubber overmold, and they even have a couple additional larger tabs here, which I think are just fine. One of the other things I like is a lot of these types of screwdrivers will just use silk screening, but these, it's actually overmolded or in-molded the sizing of these drivers, so they'll never wear out. It's very easy to see which size you need. And then, of course, color coding, red for fractional, blue for metric, and green for Torx. And I'm actually pretty excited about these Torx, particularly because it comes with a T3 and a T4 set. This is what a T3 Torx looks like. It is absolutely microscopic, super tiny Torx, and if you ever run into one of these and see T3, you're just not getting that fastener out any other way. And so oftentimes with, like, particularly I take apart hard drives to get a hold of magnets, and this is the way to do it. One thing I'm also noticing about the Torx versus the hex ones is on the really small hex ones, they have pretty small shafts, and then they do increase in size in the larger units. But on the Torx, they generally keep the shafts just a bit thicker. I think that's just due to the additional forces that are associated with the Torx. So not a lot else to say about these, besides I think they're pretty good. I do like their shape. I don't know if this is the perfect shape, but it's actually not bad. The way it flares out in the back of the hand is actually pretty comfortable. And the spinning cap is pretty nice because once you have that in there, it's really easy to spin it out. Just like our other normal precision screwdrivers, I just like the fact that Eklind had put together these sets all for pretty reasonable prices. I mean, more expensive sets, I think it was like 19 bucks for this Torx set because, of course, it was a 10-piece. They do come in these vinyl cases that kind of unfurl and fold out. There is a spot for the ones that were, externally displayed. If I can even get it in there. I'm not going to end up keeping them in these vinyl cases, mainly because these are thin, sharp screwdrivers, and you're going to end up poking holes in them. So I kind of appreciate the case, but once again, a vinyl case of these types of drivers are inevitably going to end up getting kind of torn apart. I also don't mind it because it does a more budget type of case here. Does reduce the cost a little bit, and for being made in the United States, I think that, or domestically, I think it's pretty cool. These things aren't all perfect. There are some issues, like on this particular one where the overmolding isn't, I got a little bit boogered up. But overall, I think it's okay. What they are doing is making sure they're giving you straight shanks and pretty nice machining on the tips, and which is a consideration, especially with drivers that are this small. So anyway, that's my little video about them. Not a lot to demonstrate. I'm unscrewing a couple of screwdrivers. But the big deal was just getting nice sets of precision hex and Torx drivers for a reasonable price that come with just the absolute tiniest ones. These are the tiniest sizes you'll ever run into. These will work on cameras and particularly optical equipment. Occasionally I've taken apart things like laser levels and stuff, and there are microscopic grub screws. I've actually run into 0.9 millimeter grub screws, and it's always hard to find just the right size Allen wrench, and they have to be absolutely perfect for those tiny ones. And so it's nice just to be able to spend something like basically less than $100 and be able to just get a huge set and have all the sizes, both straight and ball. And I guess the only real caveat about these is the fact that you end up with a big pile of several dozen little drivers, which do take up space. But my goodness, they certainly are handy, and actually I was pretty surprised to run into these. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Till next time, Catus Maximus out.